Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jim here, and I'm bringing you GFL. And it's very awkward here, man. Excuse me. Very awkward. Anyway, welcome to GFL Talk Radio. Starter. And we're here tonight to talk about the off-season entirety and the whole season. First, I want to say congratulations to the Minnesota Vikings, Super Bowl champion. The next congratulations to Rocco, Phil. He as well. Peyton Manning retired. Mike Jones Phil. I mean, double-edged sword there. Anyway, going back to it, now that I've got the audio set up and I can do what I need to do now and I'm not hearing myself, let's get into it. The Detroit Lions are first on the docket. I do not have any callers yet, so I'm going to be going this one alone right now. Hopefully someone will step up to the plate and call in. I've been trying to get everybody to call in, but only so many of you will, I know. Shout out to Ian. I hope everything's okay with his family. I hope he gets to listen to this and that we do justice to his mock draft that will inevitably be partially correct. The next thing I want to get into, like I said, the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, they have the number one pick. Or do they? No, they do not have the number one pick. Because this guy and the Buffalo Bills have the number one pick now because we have made in principle an agreement for a draft day trade that will send Detroit a lot of picks for the number one pick for the ability to draft quarterback Sean Griffin. We'll get more into Buffalo later, but we're going to talk about Detroit a little bit more now. This team had the number one pick, but I really feel like talent-wise, it's obviously not a team that should have been picking in the top 10. The superstars, DeAndre Levy, even without the defensive tackles, you got Ansa, who's a monster defensive end. Depending upon if he kept my man Haloti Nada, you've got a good defensive tackle there as well. So you have a base, and you have some players in the back half as well. The way I'm looking at it is they're pretty good on offense too. I mean, Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate are pretty awesome receivers, and he's got a lot of tight ends, even with letting Joseph Foria go. He's a free agent right now. The way that he's going to build this team is going to be interesting. He mentioned that he was going to go to a 3-4 defense, which is interesting to me because they talked about that in real life with Detroit going to a 3-4 defense. I think they've kind of given a hybrid look. They've kind of given some different stuff this year, but I think their base is rushing 4. So interesting if you want to put two linebackers in the middle and go more to a pass rush, stand Ansa up, then he's going to need to get linemen, and I'm sure he's looking at the secondary and trying to figure out what to do there. I don't think there are any 34 linemen that are really top consideration, but he's got a lot of second and third round picks too. So, they're a very interesting team. Looking at it, the Lions were fifth to last in total yards this year. They were actually 32nd in total offense in the league. Now they've got a new owner in Jimmy Morton, and he's doing some pretty interesting stuff, So I'm really interested to see how they do moving forward. I sound like Ruxin from the league according to chat. So I'm gonna shout out to Phil on that. And yes, Rich, the podcast is on when you get around here. And apparently Xbox Live is down in portions. I'm reading, not here, thank goodness. But you know, the Detroit Lions, man, that division is so tough with Moji and Jason and Brett now. I like the guy. I think Jimmy's a good guy. I think he can play. I scrimmaged him, so I saw what he's got. But that is probably, arguably the toughest division in the GFL and going to be one of the more talented divisions, with the stuff that Jason's done and the stuff that Brett's done. So it's going to be really tough to, get out of the cellar of the AFC North. But I don't think he'll be the number one pick next year. There are other teams I think that are going to suffer more, and I think this team will improve. I think we're looking at 4 to 6 wins for Detroit being realistic. And I don't want to be a hater or anything like that, but it's just going to be a tough sled. Defensively is going to have to figure out his identity, and can Matt Stafford get the ball to the weapons, and will the running game pick it up for the first time in Detroit's history? Moving on, we're going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they have the number 2 pick, and they actually have a really interesting position that they're in. What will Rod do? Will Rod trade the pick, the second pick? Or will he keep the pick, draft a quarterback? I know there's probably a quarterback that, you could take there, maybe one or two. No Sean Griffin there, but, only one guy can get Sean Griffin. And anyway, what will he do with the second pick? I could very easily see this pick going to Danielle. A shout out to Danielle. Shout out to Flowers, an ass we trust, whatever you want to call him. I could easily see this pick ending up with him. Now, Rod's been on a tear. It looks like he's moving to a 3-4 defense, so he's going out to try and get some different assets. I've seen him talking about linebackers. I've looked in free agency, and he looks pretty active in trying to get personnel for a 34. So he could very easily trade down and try and get 34 personnel, because there's not really, unless you're looking for a pass rusher, I don't think there's 34 personnel at the top of the draft unless you're going to the secondary. They had a tough year. I mean, it's all going to be questionable. I think Blake Bortles can turn it around. He doesn't seem to like Blake Bortles that much, but I think he'll use Blake Bortles. I think his 34 defense will be a lot better, and I think they'll run the football with the running backs that they have, and we'll see a much better team this next year. The AFC South is a tough division with Danielle and Jack in it. The Texans and the Titans. And Cody started catching his stride at the end of the year, too. I know it didn't show on the win column, but I watched the games, and he started catching his stride. We'll get more to him next. But the way I see it, Jacksonville, they may pick up a win, an extra win or two. Rod's a really good user, but this roster, even after one offseason, is not going to have the talent that he needs to compete in the AFC South. So, he's going to take the, long-term approach and get the free agents that he needs and the draft picks that he needs. And I think number 2 is a very, very hot pick for anyone that's interested. I'll say it for him. Moving on. We're going to the Indianapolis Colts. Man, I wish I would get a guest caller. Does somebody want to get in here? The Indianapolis Colts. Who could go at number 3, or it's number 3 or 4? I think the Redskins pick 3rd. I've got this backwards order. Daddy League's screwing me up. Who could go number 4? That's the question that I'm looking at. Or could number 4 be traded? I don't think Cody's going to be able to make our draft time, so it's very possible he's another candidate in the top 5. Danielle, who could trade out, putting in trade chat block, whatever you want to call it, trade block chat, that he needs a top 5 or wants a top 5 pick. So this is another shout out to him. The Colts could be moving it, and I mean, you never know. There could be another team out there that's getting the pick. But I don't see them staying there either. I think they need to load up on defensive talent. I mean, clearly they have Vontae Davis, who is a stud corner, and I wish he was on my team. But other than that, I think the defense is really lacking for playmakers, and it shows in the front seven. It'll be interesting. I'm surprised that they have not taken a run at Aldon Smith for his pass rushing ability, truthfully. You know, that kind of shocks me. I thought more 34 teams would be on board with the Aldon Smith experiment. I mean, there's some 43 teams that could use him as a defensive end. I personally wouldn't. I think he's a little too small to defend the run, but it is what it is. The Colts definitely need to go defense first at this point. Obviously, you have to sign Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton, and the left tackle signed, or I think Hilton's already signed. But, in my opinion, in order for them to win, they're going to have a good defense, and their defense was subpar this year. I mean, he picked it up more towards the end, but I didn't have a good year, and my offense was horrible, and we put up points on them like we had in the rest of the year. Moving on, the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins appear to be, and shout out to Hayward, they appear to be the redheaded stepchild of this whole entire thing. Because the way that I'm looking at it, there's a possibility that there's going to be 2 quarterbacks that go at the top of this draft. And I mean, really, the third one probably shouldn't go in the top 5. So he's going to have the inevitable decision of, do I draft the most talented player or do I take my biggest need? Because obviously we all know that Jay Cutler is the best free agent quarterback, and that's not going to get you anywhere. So I really hope that there's a quarterback out there for him, or that there's a player that, helps change his franchise, whether it's a playmaker on offense, an offensive lineman, or, some type of defensive player. If I were him, I'd be looking defense. I think you're going to have to keep up with that receiving core. You probably have to look to move back. And if I can move back and get, a first and a third, or a first and a second, or probably more than a first and a third, but a first and a second, or something of that nature, and I can get, maybe 2 defensive backs or something like that, maybe that's the way I go. And I just try and stack as much talent as I could. It's void. The defense is voided for talent, in my humble opinion. So offensively, I really like their running game, and their offensive line is underrated, in my opinion, with Shreve and with Trent Williams. Trent Williams is a hot asset. I personally will let you guys know that I inquired on Trent Williams during the offseason, and I was not able to get him to budge because Trent Williams is a stud, but he's an excellent player, and he's going to anchor their line. And interestingly enough, I really, really, really think that this is another team that's going to trade back. Moving forward, onto a team that has traded back. Huge trade in Philadelphia with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay? The Kansas City Chiefs had the number 5 pick. They have traded back with the Philadelphia for a draft day trade. They're going to trade back with Philadelphia to move back to Philadelphia's pick in the mid-20s, and they will get Philadelphia's 2nd and 3rd round pick as well. It makes this team extremely dangerous. This team is trying to get younger, and I think that they're looking for quantity of talent right now over an overriding talent. They have elite talents on this team. They're trying to fill the holes with good young players who can be, they don't have to be superstar players necessarily. They have to be, better than what they had the year prior, and give them the ability moving forward to play better defensively and offensively. I mean, I think that he's probably going to end up staying with Alex Smith for this year unless there's a quarterback on his roster that he feels is better. I mean, he may draft a quarterback. You never know. It could. I don't think it'll be in the first round. It could be a second or a third round prospect. But I would look at Trey as a guy who would be trying to get a quarterback. And I would say the offensive line there is decent, but I'd build up the offensive line. And defensively, I like Sean Smith. You need another corner. Eric Berry's a good safety. I believe Abdullah was their safety, so he probably could use another safety. And I would just try and build this defense more and more. And eventually, you know, you're going to get your quarterback and just keep getting the pieces. You know, another weapon would be nice as well. I think that's probably where he'll go in the first round. If I were him, I go for a weapon. I know he's got Ruben Randall with Jeremy Maclin, but you can give Alex Smith another option, you know, to go with Kelsey. With those three wide receiver sets with the shotgun with the tight end, there'll be a lot more options for him on the field, and he won't have to check down as much because he doesn't have receivers that can get open. Next thing, hold on one second, guys. Had to take a sip of my drink. All right. That trade was huge, by the way. I think it was probably a really good team or trade for both teams. Kansas City can use as many picks as they can get, and Philadelphia, you know, Bando played pretty well, and I think he's trying to get to the next level. We'll talk more about that later, but you know, I really like where the Chiefs are going. I think the Chiefs are going to be that shock team. I think I like Dennis, but I think the Chiefs are going to hop the Raiders in that division, and I question what type of weapons the Chargers are going to have and how they're going to be able to compete. So I think there's a big opportunity here for the Chiefs. Tampa. I like Austin. He's a nice owner. He's a good owner. He did a good deal. I think he's going to turn it around. I think he's still got the twin guys in our friend Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson. He's got the muscle hamster. He can't name himself whatever he wants. I'm still going to call him the muscle hamster. He's got Jameis Winston, my Florida State guy. I think he's going to take the step this year. I think he's going to be as good as Mariota was this past year for, you know, Danielle in Tennessee. And I really like the fact that this team has multiple first-round picks, but they have a glaring hole at the cornerback position now that they've traded Alteron Werner. I mean, a big hole. So I'm interested to see how they're going to fill that. It would appear that they're going to go hard in free agency after Jalen Watkins, my former corner. They liked him. You know, it appears that he's, you know, a young guy, probably fits what he's trying to do. Not quite Alteron Werner, but he should help, you know, not as a number one corner, maybe a 2 or a 3. But I expect Tampa to take a corner in this draft. I expect Tampa to probably take an offensive lineman in this draft. And I expect Tampa to probably take someone on the defensive line, maybe a linebacker. I mean, they love Levante David and Gerald McCoy, but those guys could use some help. I like Austin Seferian-Jenkins. I think he's a good tight end, or, you know, a good enough tight end to start for right now. I don't think they need to draft one of those. So it'll be an interesting year for Tampa in the NFC South, and see how they're going to be able to navigate through the Herders and the Immaculate Ones of the world. And don't count out our New Orleans Saints owner, Rich. He's also looking to take that step. We'll talk about him as well. But these teams, you know, this is shaping up to be an interesting division. I think with Tampa's going to influx some young talent, and I think they're going to develop it, and they're going to do it right, and they're going to be knocking on the door. I don't know that it's going to be this year, but they're going to be knocking on the door. Oakland. I love I love some of the stuff that they've done, but I also am worried. I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to confirm it right now. But I'm pretty sure Oakland has by far the largest cap hit in the entire league. I'm pulling this up right now on the game so that we can check this out. Got to go to my salaries page, but what the way I'm looking at it may have been for this year, but I saw something in the neighborhood of $35 million. Nope, I guess I'm wrong there. No cap penalty. It's a $300,000 cap penalty, and he's got a lot of cap space. So let's change that conversation to Oakland's got a lot of money to spend, and they're trying to make improvements. I traded Oakland safety Aaron Williams. They're trying to improve their secondary. The way it helps me, the way I'm looking at it, I get some extra picks. And they were the worst pass defense in the NFL, or in the GFL, I should say. They were the worst pass defense in the entire GFL, and he knows it, and he's trying to correct it. He wants to move back as well. So Danielle, he's at number 8. I'm calling you again, man. Man, I'm all the way to the Oakland Raiders, and I haven't gotten one guest. I have one viewer. What's going on here? Philip, stop listening and call in. Anyway, back to the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders have a lot of money, and I like their roster. Khalil Mack, I think he's an undersized defensive end, but he is an absolute stud. But from there, it gets tough. Derek Carr, good player. He's got Matt Khalil now out there. Danny Trevathan, to go with Amari Cooper, and Hudson, the center. So I like some of the players on his team. I think he needs a lot more depth. I think through free agency he'll get that. But he's built a solid base now on the roster that I don't believe was there before. Now he's had to. Hi, Phil.
Hey, man, what's up?
Not too much. You can turn off your video if you want.
Do what? I'm trying to. I don't know how to turn it off.
Okay, you see the you see the little video thing that's on your screen next to, it's in between the hang up button.
Oh wait, I got it.
There you go. Yep, you got it.
All right, and you watching?
Yeah, we got a viewer. And this, if not, it's still on YouTube. So afterwards, people can listen to it as much as they want, download it, listen to it in the car. I'd be plugging GFL Talk Radio all day.
Okay, all right. So where are we at now?
We're at the Oakland Raiders, and we're talking about how much money they have. The Oakland Raiders have $76.2 million.
I don't know if you saw, but in the free agency pool, Dennis has been making. I mean, he's trying to get so many players.
No,
what's up?
Go for it.
No. He's actually making some surprising moves. I'm a little bit shocked that some of the players that he didn't re-sign, that he had a second thought on it, and now he's trying to re-sign them. And from me gathering information from him, he's trying to make a big move not only in the offseason, but during the season. He's trying to better himself and his team, especially from last year, because he didn't have that great of a year. But he's very confident in this year and thinks that he can give me, the Broncos, and Michael, and even Trey a run for our money in taking the division.
Yeah, we were talking about our friend Trey earlier in the podcast as well with the Chiefs, and I really like his position that he's in with the trade that he made for number 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of, he let a lot of older guys go, but he's going to fill those with the talented guys that he's going to get in this draft, and they may not necessarily be superstars, but that's not what he needs. He has superstars on his roster: Jamal Charles, Houston, some really good players.
And I know that he just, he lost Derek Johnson due to age and his regression, but with a trade that just occurred a couple of days ago, he acquired the Broncos. Brandon Marshall, who's better. He acquired Brandon Marshall and Derek Clippers. And those are two big holes that he has on his defense, middle linebacker and free safety, and he just filled those with two really great players in our league. So his defense is looking pretty set. I mean, especially with the veterans he already has with Eric Berry, Justin Houston. I think if he still has Tom Bahali, I'm not sure if he does.
Yeah, Tom Bahali is a free agent. That's another age that he's going to go. He could go 3-4 pass rusher. He could have gone 3-4 pass rusher at the top of this draft, but he moved back. Now, there are some interesting 3-4 pass rushers at the end of the first round.
There's a lot. Not only that, I mean, there's some that, even 4-3 DNs that with the speed that they have from the combine results, they can maybe convert to 3-4 as a 3-4 pass rusher or edge rusher.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's
transition.
Yeah, there's a lot of this draft is deep in a lot of positions, especially linebacker, both middle and outside. The thing that it does lack is safeties. So teams that need safeties are probably going to either try to look at a few players that are corners that could be converted, or draft a safety in the later rounds, or pick up one in free agency, because there's not many in this draft.
I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So what? Who's after the Raiders? Who do we have now?
The Raiders. Yeah. Well, we're gonna finish up with the Raiders right now. Basically, they've also talked about moving back from the number 8 pick. Again, I'm gonna shout you out, Danielle. You've been posting in trade chat. You want a top 5, 6, 7, 8's fine. I just pointed out like 4 or 5 people for you to talk to. So if you get around to listening to this, bro, you know who to talk to. Anyway, we're done with the Raiders. I like what you said. He's trying to make moves to get guys back, and he's got a lot of money. So we're actually on to Moji's Green Bay Packers now.
Okay. Well, since he came back, he's probably made the most moves out of anybody within a span of a day or two, with all the trades that he's had and the number of free agents that he's trying to re-sign, especially some that he did not mean to let go.
Yeah.
So I think with the year the Packers had this past year, they didn't play well. I think because of a lot of holes that they had on their team. I think they're going to come back and be, I don't even know, maybe a 10 or 11 win team.
So the question becomes 3 NFC North playoff teams, yes or no?
Well, I mean, the NFC North, I mean, you have, I think it's probably one of the toughest divisions, especially not only in the NFC, but in the NFL.
I said it earlier. I think it is the toughest. I'm not blowing smoke or anything like that. I really think that's the toughest one now. No disrespect to anybody else.
No, the 2 best teams in the NFC last year were in the NFC North.
Yep.
So if Moji is going to make some type of rally to win 11, 10 games, or just to make the playoffs, he's going to have to beat out even the Lions. The Lions, they may make some noise. He's basically guaranteeing a playoff spot a couple days ago. So if that's the case, him and Moji are both going to have to not only beat Bears and Vikings in their division, but they're going to have to their overall record be a lot better than they were, especially coming off of last year with Brett winning the Super Bowl.
Hello, Rich.
Hey.
Hey, Rich, if you want to turn on your video.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. There you go.
Oh,
We're
that stupid fucking picture.
Green Bay.
Richie.
What's up?
Okay, we're on the Green Bay Packers. As far as how they're doing this off season, coming off of the bad year that they had.
Oh, well, the bad year they had because their owner was kind of too busy with his personal life, so he didn't really get a chance to do much. But yeah, now with Moji, yeah, like y'all said earlier, he has made a lot of moves in such a short span that I could definitely see him being, a 9 or 10 win team, even in the tough NFC North with Brett and Jason. It's going to be very difficult for anybody in that division, but if anybody could do it, it'd be Moji.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. I see a revival of Aaron Rodgers this year, and Randall Cobb, Eddie Lacy.
So who do you think that they're? I know they traded. Wait, they traded their first. Their seventh overall.
Say that again, Phil. We lost you.
Oh, I said, didn't Koji Packers trade his seventh overall? Or,
I have to happening. So, so he did not. He's still currently the seventh overall, to my knowledge. I don't. But that's the way I'm looking at it. I think he'll end up moving out of that
I
trading
think
back.
it's echoing off of Richie's phone. I can't hear him.
You're echoing?
I think it's Richie's phone. I don't know. Okay, no, we're good.
Are you guys close to
Yep.
Yeah, that could be part of it. If you guys are too close to one another, you're like, oh no, not that. All right. Anyway, so now we're going to be talking Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Well,
Arizona
they've been
Cardinals.
quiet. I haven't
What?
really.
Yeah, you're not really going to hear much from them. I believe we just lost our owner.
Yeah. All right, Jim. The voice, it's there, and then it goes all the way from your computer or phone or whatever.
I did not hear you.
Yes, there's so many problems with it.
Gotcha.
I don't know what it is. The audio is bugging out.
Yeah.
But okay, if you can hear me, the Cardinals, they've been absent. They've been quiet. They haven't really made any moves in the off season. They're during the regular season, they didn't really do much. I don't know what's going on with the owner. Maybe they need a new owner. Maybe the coach needs to be fired. They haven't done much, and it's surprising because the 2014 season, that they were a 10-6 team, trying to get the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. I hope they get a new owner because I'd love to get me some Patrick Peterson.
Oh man, Patrick Peterson, or man, even Michael Floyd. Michael Floyd's he's a big wide receiver. That's a terrible bit.
Speaking of the Cardinals and Patrick Peterson, who else is going to cover their receivers? Because I don't think PP is I don't think he's going to be able to cover everybody himself.
Well, they got the Honey Badger. I mean, he came off. What, did he win Rookie of the Year? Not this year, but last year. I think he won Rookie of the Year defensively, or almost did. No. He came in second behind Khalil Mack. That's right. But I don't know. I think in the draft, if there were a target at a certain position, it would have to be something on defense. Oh. What?
All right. So, we just had Rich and Phil on. So that was tons of fun. Arizona Cardinals. Oh, we just lost Phil. Alright, Rich. So you're still here? Cool.
Alright, let's see. What's up?
So we can all hear each other now.
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Alright, so Mantra. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up. And the first one is obviously this guy. When I say this guy, because I made the trade to get
Yeah, you're starting to cut out a little bit.
Oh, I'm starting to cut out a little bit?
Yeah.
Weird. I wonder if it's my headphones.
Maybe it's my shitty phone.
I don't know. But anyway, at the top of the podcast, I told everybody we would be talking about Ian's mock draft.
Oh,
we're going to
yes,
start
mock
talking
draft. Give me a second.
The Buffalo Bills, at the top of this, are looking at quarterback Sean Gray.
Oh, boy. Oh, that's right. You do have that first pick, don't you?
Yes, I do.
All right.
And I'm going to tell everybody it is absolutely not going to be a secret. I'm going to take.
Oh, well, I don't think you're surprising anybody when you're saying that, buddy. Ooh, better be careful with that word, buddy. Don't want to upset some people up in Minnesota.
You're my friend.
Had to make a good shout out there to you, Mr. Brett.
Speaking of Brett, he made indications that he was going to be here in representation.
Oh, was that so?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm going to call him out on that because I'm not seeing that happening.
Yeah, let's see where he is. Where's the Super Bowl champ?
Yeah, it'd be good to have a Super Bowl champion on here.
Yeah, it would. I feel like the media now. We're the media now. The teams don't like the media. Anyway, back to it. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Ian has them taking Cooper Ballard, quarterback. How do you think
that? Seeing him go so early. Honestly, I don't really think that. I don't think he's going to take him there. He just got Robert Griffin III, and I think he's looking at making him have a fresh start there and getting some stuff done, being the starter. Maybe it might be a battle between him and what's his name, Blake Bortles.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Blake Bortles could be right now.
Pardon?
I said I would not be surprised if Blake Bortles could be had right now.
I wouldn't be surprised either. If he's definite and positive about RG3, then definitely Blake Bortles could be gone very quickly.
Yeah, I clearly agree. So if you were a pick number 2, you were the Jaguars, knowing what you kind of where would you go?
Let's see. That is a difficult one. Well, if he's going and switching to a 34 defense, and I can't for the life of me think of who his. Oh, I'm actually getting a phone call. Philip.
Oh, we're back down to me again. Oh, that's all right. Podcast has some ups and some downs and some guests and some people that have to leave, but it is what it is. Anyway, the question that I was asking him, I'll ask myself. Where would I go if I were him? And he just got Robert Griffin, and the way that he's looking at it, I think, is defense. I'd probably go corner, either Curtis Reed or Devontae Mosley would be the picks in that area, based on what's on the board currently. And I honestly, I'd probably
There we go. Sorry about that. I got a phone call from Mr. Phil being a little shit dick.
Oh no, what's wrong?
Oh, nothing's wrong with him. He's just calling me about dumb stuff.
Okay.
Like normal. But yeah, all right. With Jacksonville, if there was a superb 34 defensive tackle or defensive end or something, an edge rusher, I'd tell him to shoot for it and shoot hard. But I mean, there's Adrian Gordon, who's decent, but he's in the middle of the pack when it comes to linebackers. He's projected way too high. If I was Jacksonville, I would definitely trade back and get as many picks as I could.
Yeah, I agree. But if I went to trade, I don't see any for talent. I'd probably go secondary. I'd trade back.
Yeah. Yeah, go secondary or trade back. There's a couple good corners on here.
There's a 43 tackle there that I'm trying to look at.
You're talking about Javier Acosta?
Yeah, he's 300 pounds. But in the end, or maybe not a shot like, but it's a possibility for the first win and a bonus, but that's more of a situation. So the in our line is Washington Redskins, and they pick a quarterback, AJ.
AJ Blake.
Yes, quarterback out of Nebraska.
Taking him at pick number 3.
That's according to the market.
I'm not sure. Maybe. I mean, if it's definitely a reach. If there's not too many quarterback needy teams right now, which is, I guess, good since we have a very, very weak quarterback class this year. If I were him, I'd take a chance to drop back maybe just outside of the top 10, get up another pick or two, and secure that quarterback and something else that he desperately needs.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many teams that are trying to back, and I believe there are many teams trying to. So it's interesting. I'm not sure if you think it's a first-round product.
Definitely not. If I were him and I had to make the reach for a quarterback, and Sean Griffin isn't there anymore, I'd probably be going with Cooper Ballard out of Florida.
It's interesting. I mean, Cooper the athletic type of back based on his combine grade, so he's going to be more of a mobile quarterback. I think one of the things that attributed Sean Griffin probably his arm strength.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's another team that, looking at the top, they're a 34 defense. Adrian Gordon to go for Ryan Kerrigan can make a lot of sense. You got to rush the passer in that division. You got to rush Eli. You got to rush Drew Brees.
Yeah, definitely. And they're going to need some. He's going to need some quick defensive players to combat, what he's going to have to deal with now with the Giants making a change in their offensive scheme, getting a mobile quarterback in Garrett Grayson. That's going to be just another team with some issues with that.
No, it's not.
All right, Phil.
What's up?
We are on Washington right now, talking about what they're gonna do with their third pick.
Their third pick. I saw them go after a few players in the free agency, not too many. Mostly just veterans, people to fill some backup spots. Well, here, let's take a look at their team real quick and look at their biggest needs.
We're looking at quarterback because that is a glaring need for them. No longer having RG3 and Kirk Cousins is definitely not the answer. And
No, especially with the rumors that the
hey, Phil, you
Redskins.
should probably turn down your TV, buddy.
Is it on? Oh, it is on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
it's loud. Oh, and never mind. The only quarterback they have on the roster right now is Ryan Mallett.
Yeah, and that's not going to start any games.
Yeah, he's definitely not the answer to anything.
Yeah, so like I said, I can see Adrian.
Yeah, I could see Adrian Gordon going as well. You know, that'll help him out.
Take Sapp. They could take Sapp, really fits their scheme.
I can't hear Jim.
You can't hear me?
Oh,
No.
I can hear you now.
I can now.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you're too far away or something.
I'm wearing headphones.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah, it is strange.
Like it goes in and out.
It must be these piece of grass.
I mean, I'm using iPhone headphones, so.
Yeah, destruction of these things, I'm telling you.
It's like going in and out. Alright, so Redskins, well, they just picked up Ryan Mallett, but I don't think that they're looking to start him.
Not a fan.
No.
Definitely not.
No, so their probably need is a quarterback, and I'm going to say they're going to take him with the third overall pick.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you guys.
What's up?
You know what?
I can't hear you. It sounds like you're far, far away, and I can hear my own self talk.
Yeah, it's good. You're gonna hear you.
That's because I have a headset.
All these headphones.
Rich, are you still there? Yeah. This is so strange.
How's it going now?
It is strange. I'll get better headphones for the next time I do this production value. But anyway, basically, Washington needs a quarterback, whether they get in the draft or whether they don't get in the draft. That's what they need. Moving on, Indianapolis, Ian's mock draft has Javier Acosta being taken there. Now, I've heard some rumors about that pick moving. I don't know where it might be going, but I've heard rumors about that pick moving.
Okay,
So
I would know firsthand about that. So the Indianapolis Colts were looking to trade their fourth overall pick to get more picks, and the rumor is in, and it's true, that the Broncos actually traded 2 first-round picks and their third-round pick for the fourth overall. The question is, though, what are the Broncos looking to get with the fourth overall? No one knows, so I guess we'll have to wait and see.
yeah, we will have to wait and see.
Yeah. But they have been looking at a few players in free agency, mostly veterans. They're looking to resign Andre Johnson.
Andre, his career, I'm not so sure about.
I'm not either. He's getting older, I should say.
He'll
He's getting
be
older.
if anything, he'll be a good distraction for opposing defenses.
Well, they got some interesting talent out there in Dorset and Moncrief and that type of stuff. So I don't know that you even necessarily need Andre Johnson.
Or the T.Y. Hilton. I mean, they have. Oh wow. Okay, so with their leading receiver last year, Kobe Fleener, they're looking to get Vernon Davis, who I mean, he's coming.
Why do you trade Dwayne Allen then?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe he felt like wasn't doing much for the team and didn't need him. But if that's the case, then why are you getting a second tight end with the experience that Vernon Davis has? I don't know.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. And Indy will be an interesting team if they can, in my opinion, go defense first and just keep pounding it with defense in the draft and in free agency. That's their number one need. They started to figure out how to score points at the end of the year, so I think they'll be pretty dangerous there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And from what I'm seeing is that their biggest target in free agency right now is their offensive line.
That's a good
yeah,
protect Andrew.
Yeah, protect Andrew Luck. That's the main thing you need to worry about on offense. You have your wide receivers pretty set, especially with Cody Flanner, and I guess Vernon Davis if it turns out that he signs them. They're trying to sign from what looks like a left guard, center, and they're both veterans. Both have 7+ years in the league. So, other positions, I don't know. They're also looking out to get a right guard. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they do. The Colts have always been one of those hybrid teams where they run those 4-3s and those 3-4s. I think Cody will probably settle into a 43 defense, so I'd like to see him get some defensive tackles.
Yeah.
Even if it's not Javier Acosta at the top of the draft, there's some decent defensive tackles in this draft. I think that would fit the mold what Indianapolis is going to be trying to do.
Oh, definitely, especially because they had one of the worst defenses in the league. And obviously, I know that he's trying to sign some veteran offensive linemen, but I think the target in the draft should his main focus should be on defense. He has offensive weapons, so
Absolutely.
having a terrible defense, you got to look to fix it.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
So the next team that in this is the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously because they've acquired the 5th pick from our friend Trey, the Chiefs. So the Philadelphia Eagles are listed as drafting Adrian House, the safety, and you guys have been railing on this safety class.
I guess if it's a huge, if they're looking to sign a safety, obviously they saw something in that player.
They also just traded Mike Jenkins to Tennessee.
Oh wow. There you go. There's a spot that needs to be filled on defense, and especially trading a veteran like Mike Jenkins away. I guess target should be that safety. But they didn't. They had a pretty good defense last year.
They did. Maybe they're looking for that playmaker in the back half that makes them better. They really did lose the game, in my opinion, through the air against the Vikings in the playoffs.
Oh, definitely. That game was just ugly from the start. Basically, when going into the game, I thought the Eagles, would give the Vikings run for their money, but after just maybe the first quarter into the second, the game was already getting out of hand. The Eagles just could do nothing, which is odd because their defense was a top 10 defense in the NFL all season, and they had 40 sacks on the year, 25 picks, and you think that they would kind of shut Teddy Bridgewater down, but that wasn't the case at all.
Yeah, Bridgewater feasted. I think they're looking to rectify that.
Let's see. Eagles. So they're projected to get that safety. Do you have any idea if they were not to get that safety? Do you know who they would target?
In my mind, it's pretty simple. You're facing the defense again. They're going after the weapons in free agency. They're going after the wide receivers, both Percy Harvin and Jermaine Kearse. Last time I checked, they were going after both. So I'm looking at pass rusher with Gordon still being on the board, or I'm looking probably at corner.
Oh, okay.
and I'm getting a second corner to go with my $60 million man in Maxwell to shut down the other side of the field. I mean, it's this AFC, or I'm sorry, this NFC East. You've got to face Beckham and Benjamin. Why wouldn't he get a second corner?
Oh no! Not only that. I mean, if you look at the corners that they have,
Phil, tell me
honestly,
you just heard that shit.
I did hear that shit.
That was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I thought someone was banging. But their corners, the only good one, I mean, is Maxwell. The other ones that they have, they're not even decent. And you think, Eric Rowe, coming off of a rookie season, he played pretty well. You'd think he would have, stepped up by now and kind of play like a starter, but he really hasn't. He hasn't done what everyone thought he would. So, I mean, them having no strong safety, their free safety, Laron Landry, he played okay, but he is getting old a little bit, and you can tell that he's regressing. So either corner or safety is their top priority right now.
Makes sense. It's the way that I feel. Corner or safety. That's probably where they're going to go. They've got to stop these passing attacks. The only other place I could see them going is they looked like they were going to jettison some offensive linemen, so I could see them going there. And if something does fail, don't be surprised if maybe they go for one of those weapons in the draft, like Rashad Jackson, a wide receiver like a Tremont Adams, that type of guy.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially, if they get an offensive weapon in the draft, like a speedy guy, kind of return kicks, catch some short throws and turn it upfield, it'd really complement their offense. Like you said, they're trying to get Jermaine Kearse, and after acquiring Drew Brees from the Saints last year, who had a great year, it would definitely complement their offense with signing a pretty fast either wide receiver, halfback on offense. Definitely help them as a whole. Let's see.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the Arizona Cardinals. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Arizona Cardinals on the mock draft. They are taking quarterback Devontae Mosley. I don't think we have an owner right now, so we won't spend a lot of time on them. The CPU, of course, we all know is very tough and random. So we'll do with Devontae Mosley. I only see them having one corner, so that would make sense. On the one corner on the roster, so it would make sense.
Well, with Carson Palmer retiring, if I'm correct, they have Matt Barkley as their quarterback. I don't think that they're going to stick with that. So they may surprise people, or not surprise people, but they may take a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know if the game's going to overdraft the quarterback in this situation. EA claims it won't, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, especially since they have one corner, that's Patrick Peterson. So.
Trying to tell you, motherfucker.
Anyway, moving on, we're looking at the next pick, and that is actually Adrian Gordon, the outside linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. He would be for the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers?
Yep.
All right, let's see. You have them taking who?
Yeah, Ian has them taking Adrian Gordon, the outside linebacker.
Oh, okay. Adrian Gordon. Well, they don't have a right outside linebacker, so I could definitely see that happening. Left.
Pass rusher.
Oh, okay. So I guess So Clay Matthews, they moved him back to outside linebacker.
But they let Nick Perry go. I saw he was a free agent, so they needed some help there.
Yeah, they don't have any right outs. They only have two outside linebackers. With them moving Clay Matthews, of course, back to outside linebacker.
What I'm gonna have to say about Adrian Gordon though is I think this kid is overhyped a little bit. Yeah, he's got a good grade. He's good size at 6'3", 253, but he didn't have a very good combine. He pretty much middle to the back of the pack in his grades. He didn't do so hot, but we'll see how that'll play out because I'm sure somebody will take the bait and take him earlier than he should, and hopefully it'll be better than
Well,
what I'm thinking it'll end up like.
if you see his combine results, like the 3-cone, the 20-yard shuttle, those are the only two that are above in rankings above being ranked in the top 10. The 40-yard dash, he ran a 4.68, which isn't bad. It's pretty good, but it ranks 10th among the outside linebackers. And I think, if you if you want to get someone that's kind of an edge rusher, or maybe someone that could be like on a hybrid defense, honestly, I would go for Tank Sapp or Michael Tyson.
I'd say Clinton Barkley. Clinton Barkley's got some really good stats. He's 6'3", 244. Played really well at Georgia. He ran a 4.7, which still isn't bad for a pass rusher at all. He was in top 10 in most other categories. The bench press, he only had 22 reps, which isn't phenomenal, but it's pretty close to the other linebackers. There was stretched pretty thin there. But his 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, and his jumping skills are phenomenal, which could make him a great athlete. But for pass rusher, I would rate him above Adrian Gordon.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of linebackers coming out of Georgia, Leon Jacobs, who's projected to go in the first round, he actually ran a 4.57, which is first among the outside linebackers. Yeah. And his bench press is fifth. He has pretty good zone coverage and tackling. From what we can gather from him playing at Georgia, wasn't that great at hitting. He was a wrap-up tackler more often than not. Wasn't really a big hitter.
Wrap-up tacklers can make it in the NFL.
Especially if you're an outside, if you're an edge rusher, you don't need to have big hit power. If you can just get back there and wrap up the ball carrier, you'll be fine.
I'll take that every day of the week.
Mm-hmm. Because if you have a big hitter who can't tackle for shit, I'm sorry, but there's going to be a lot of missed tackles, especially for a rookie that has no experience in the NFL. He's going to need as much practice as he can get.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the Raiders in this mock draft. The Raiders Ian's mock draft has them taking Tank Sapp, the outside linebacker, basically. Okay. The replacement for our friend Cleo Mack, who's on their defensive line now.
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah, from when he was playing at Wisconsin, he had some speed. It wasn't flashy by all means, but one of the things that he showed was him going just straight to the ball carrier. Whoever had the ball, he went straight for them. No one could stop the guy, and he had one of the best combine results of the outside linebackers. If the Raiders are to take outside linebacker, I could definitely see them taking Tank Sapp or even Leon Jacobs.
And I'm going to have to remind everybody, which this is something that I forget all the time. Teddy Bridgewater had an awful, awful combine. But look at him now. Just recently won the MVP of the NFL.
GFL, Rich, you get it right.
No, GFL, sorry. Hey, he's taking the steps of, not necessarily, but sort of the steps of Tom Brady and the whole terrible combine. It's just,
Well, let's be honest, Tom Brady had the worst combine ever.
I still remember watching his 40. Oh, man.
Yeah, he has the
looked
lankiest
like a herd of turtles through peanut butter.
You could tell that dude was just straight up lanky.
Okay, so we're on the Raiders right now, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So
alrighty.
So they would take Tank Sapp. I really like that pick. So
I like that one.
Let's move on to the Detroit Lions. And I don't think they're going to take this player, but Ian has them taking Curtis Reed to corner from Penn State.
Curtis Reed. Kent State?
Well, from what he has good size. Obviously, he's 6'1", 200+ pounds. But he's actually not projected to go in the first. there's a lot of corners that, in my opinion, are better than him. And if this is going to be the first corner to be drafted, I don't think it should be Curtis Reed.
I mean, he has Devontae Mosley, I believe, being drafted as the first corner. Off the board.
Does he? Oh, okay.
Yep, Curtis Reed would be the second corner off the board at number 9.
Okay. Well, if I was if I were the Lions and say Mosley's off the board, and then you have Reed, Adrian House, Patton, I would, you know what? I wouldn't go for Reed. I would probably go for Adrian House if he's not already off the board by then.
Yeah, for the purposes of this mock draft, Adrian House is off the board at 5. But I agree with your sentiment. He wants secondary. Basically,
You know, I'm going to take a reach here and hope that the Raiders have seen some things that I know other teams have seen. And there is a corner coming out of Baylor that is definitely not a question. Pardon?
He said,
Say that
"Speak
again?
up."
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, good.
All right. What I'm saying is there's a corner coming out of Baylor who isn't projected to go very high at all. In fact, he's projected to go in the 7th round. But he had a pretty decent combine, running a 4.41. He had the fastest times for the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle. So you know he's going to be good. He's going to be quick on his feet. He's going to be able to move in and out and play the good role of a corner, you know, in any position, you know, or in any scheme, 3-4, 4-3, whatever it be. And he middle of the pack with his jumping skills. I mean, if anything, if you needed a free safety, you could draft this guy and maybe you would input him in. He's 6'2", 20 or 205. Well, I'm talking about Jorge Klein or George Klein. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I think he is one of the best corners in this draft, which this year's draft, the corner talent is deep. There is a lot of players who could definitely be starters in the NFL, or the GFL, I'm sorry.
Actually, George Klein, he had one of the best combine grades of the corners. I mean, he was in the top 7, I think. And he's projected to go in the 7th, and he has better grades for people that are in the 1st and 2nd round.
yeah, very interesting prospect.
See, Baylor. And I think if the Raiders are to draft a corner, like I said, if Adrian House is not off the board by then, if he's not, I would take House over Reed.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he's a little underweight for my taste at 186, especially with the big physical receivers that have started coming into the league recently, but you definitely cannot ignore that 4.3 40-yard time.
Not only that, he actually
had the strength. Yes, 29 reps for a cornerback.
So
that
maybe
this guy's got to be pure muscle.
Well, and not only that, the disadvantage you're saying he might have against the bigger receivers might not be a problem if he's
too fast for them.
Well, not only that, if he's that strong.
Yeah, true. He might be able to, because everybody knows that there's some aggression going on at the line of scrimmage. So if he can bump him down with some good bump coverage, and we'll be all right.
Yep. Yes, we will.
Yep.
Hey, we lost Philip there, but that's okay. I still got Rich with me. The next pick that came in is Tampa Bay.
Okay.
And they are taking
right tackle Andrew Lauderdale out of Nebraska.
Okay.
I like this pick. I like this talent.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, he's a talented kid. I'm going to pull up his combine stats very quickly, but I remember liking him for the stuff he would be able to do as a right tackle. He's not necessarily a left tackle because he's a run blocker more so. 27 reps is what really hurt him, but if you're a guy that runs outside a little bit more than you run inside, that's not bad because for an offensive lineman, he ran a 5.18, which is the third fastest tackle. Period. Which is the other ones probably weren't much faster. It's probably tied because the way that this game does it, it doesn't show you a tie. It just gives someone. But anyway, and he was third in the cone drill and second in the 20-yard shuttle. So he's one of those athletic linemen. So I like the pick for Tampa. I don't think Tampa's going to be as much of a power running team as they had been in the past, and I think it makes sense. If they weren't to go and they wanted a different offensive lineman, they'd probably go Chauncey Cole, the left tackle out of USC, would be my guess.
Say it again?
I said if they weren't going to go Andrew Lauderdale, they'd probably go left tackle Chauncey Cole.
Yeah.
Who's a
I can
strong.
agree with that one.
He's just as fast. And he's actually an interesting. He has the best broad jump of any offensive lineman in the draft.
Oh, I see that. 10 feet. Wow. 10 feet, 5 inches. That's pretty impressive for a guy of his size. 6'7" through 27. And he's so young at 21. He could definitely be a franchise left tackle making lots of money for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. He'd make lots of money for a long time. He would be in the GFL. Whoever gets him, they'll have that franchise left tackle for, the duration of the cycle. So the next interesting pick to me is the Cleveland Browns, and they pick left tackle DJ Fender over Chauncey Cole.
Okay, I was just looking at him actually, and that might be, with the Cleveland Browns, depending on who they're gonna be using, if they're gonna stick with EJ Manuel at quarterback or not. He is his 40 time 4.96 for a 6'5" guy weighing 318. That's pretty good. His 20-yard shuttle is 4.62 seconds, and he rated middle of the pack with just about everything else. Or top 10, almost top 5 with everything. And he's got some really good ability. So if with that athleticism, and if EJ Manuel stays their quarterback, that'll really help him out because he can get back there and stop those tacklers and block them real quick.
Yeah, moving pockets, rollouts, that type of stuff. I could definitely see DJ Fender being the type of player if Roll Tide decides to go that way. The pick makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
If it were me, I would pick Chauncey Cole, the left tackle.
I would still go with Chauncey Cole. He's quick, just like DJ Fender is, but he's got some more run block ability, more blocking ability, in my opinion. He's the more complete left tackle.
Absolutely. I agree there. Ironically enough, Ian has the Seattle Seahawks taking Chauncey Cole in the next.
Okay.
Easily see them going there with Russell Okung not being, the best left tackle in the world, if you get what I'm saying, and him growing there.
I can see him taking that. Yeah.
I think makes too much sense to me.
Yeah, it definitely does.
So you move on to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys in this mock draft end up with Devin Calvin, the safety out of Penn State. There's a lot of Penn State players. There's a lot of Devin Galvin, the safety out of Penn State.
Okay, strong or free safety? Free safety? Well, man, it's got them taking one of the, I wouldn't say the most talented, but the highest rated for saying he's supposed to go mid-first. The only other ones are second and up, but...
defensive back, the 40 time worries me. 4.71.
Oh, most definitely, even for a free safety.
Even if you're playing zone coverage most of the time, a 4.71 is not going to be good enough for recovery.
Yeah,
his acceleration.
not.
He is 20-yard shuttle. He was fifth, so maybe his acceleration is a little bit better. So maybe
his strength worries me a little bit for a big guy playing safety. Only 9 reps on the bench press. That's not very impressive to me. That's not that's not good enough for me. In fact, I'd look for somebody a little better. And honestly, I mean, if you want to go for another safety that's a little stronger and has some good acceleration, hold on. All right, sorry about that. I had a little fight with my animals. All right. Well, all right. Well,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. We appear to have had a bit of a technical difficulty. So, anyway, we were talking about, before we got so rudely interrupted, we were talking about our, what were we talking about? We go back. Seattle Seahawks, Dallas Cowboys. We were talking about Devin Galvin. I really don't think that's the pick. Richie's back. There we go. We had some technical difficulties.
yes, we did. It was it said you got disconnected and then it kicked me. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know either.
All right. So where are we at now?
We just got done talking about how the Dallas Cowboys shouldn't draft Devin Galvin. I think they should probably look at a different safety. I would say, probably look at a safety more in the vein of a Myron McKay, even though he's slow, or go outside the box, maybe go to a free safety. I mean, there are tons of different guys out there as well. You could always look at T.J. Ross, the safety out of Florida, Lorenzo Austin, the safety out of Georgia, Delvin Fisher, if he isn't gone, the safety out of LSU. Timothy Samuels is an interesting safety to probably go in the second round.
Yeah. If I were him, well, what pick is Dallas at this year? Number 10 or 11?
13.
13. Okay, 13. If I were him and I wanted to get a good player, I might go with Delvin Fisher there. He's got some good stats. He's got some good ability. Pretty high rated. He played well at LSU. I mean, between him and Lorenzo Austin, the strong safeties, I'd go with Delvin. if you wanted to move him over to free safety, he's got the speed. He's got some strength. He could definitely do good in Dallas's defense.
All right. Yeah, I agree there. You could look at T.J. Ross, like I said as well. The next pick that's coming up is the New England Patriots, and he has them taking Jaquan Carrington, the halfback out of Auburn. Very interesting.
Jaquan Carrington. Okay, well, if I think that's an interesting pick as well. If I don't see Patriots taking that sort of running back. Because, in my opinion, Jaquan Carrington is the number one back in the draft this year. If anybody is worthy of a first-round pick and a running back, it is him. He's got fast. He's got some speed. He's got strength. Honestly, this might be one of the best running back prospects since Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but they also said that about Trent Richardson.
You know what? You're right. This guy, he's 6 foot 221. Hopefully he just, if he's not blind like a bat, like Trent Richardson was,
yeah,
he could definitely do some damage in this league.
For sure. Like you can build them up and make them look like football players, but sometimes you just can't teach them to be football players.
Yeah, that is true. And one of the things I really like about him is that the rest of the halfback class this year, they're all too short for me. They're mostly 5'8", 5'9", and nobody really wants that too much. That's not real starter material for long, at least. You can look at Maurice Jones-Drew, who lasted quite a while, but that's not an all-the-time sort of thing.
Yeah, you take a running back in a mid-round, generally expecting not to sign them to a second contract.
Yeah, that is true. That seems to be the case here lately.
Yep. So I'd say we if I were them, maybe the Patriots go corner, like an Adrian House or someone of that nature. Like you said, this corner draft, although they may not be first-round picks, maybe some of them are, maybe some of them aren't, seems to be pretty deep. So maybe they go House. I could easily see them, trying to replace what they lost in Vince Wilfork, a season ago as well.
Yeah, and if I'm gonna say, if they're gonna go after another defensive tackle to replace him, I'll probably have to go with what's his name there, Philip Pearson maybe. But if they wanted somebody real big, they're pretty much out of luck in that category. We don't have anybody big like Vince Wilfork who could really stuff the run. But it is a deep defensive tackle draft.
Austin is 6'5", 327 pounds. He's probably about a fifth-round prospect. I don't know that he'll even be anything close to Vince Wilfork, but he's a guy like that with some size. Then you get into the undrafted guys. There's actually a few undrafted guys who are big like that. So maybe you go through and maybe you find an undrafted gem at nose tackle. It's doubtful, but it's possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
But, it doesn't seem like the first round that's going to end up happening. So, probably secondary, I would say, or, New England always loves offensive linemen.
Yeah, that's true. They always need more players to protect Mr. Brady.
So the next one is New York Jets. He has them taking Dayon Bernard, the linebacker from Wisconsin. I totally disagree with this pick.
Who? I'm sorry, I didn't really. What team?
We're talking about the New York Jets, the guy you share a stadium with, and even though technically, Madden, you don't share a stadium with him. But that's another story. Should make that more realistic. He has them taking Dayon Bernard, and Dayon Bernard is a Tampa 2 linebacker, probably a zone linebacker, chase down linebacker, and that's not the Jets' defense. Not at all.
Definitely not. No, they need a hard hitter. They don't. I don't like this pick at all for them. I really don't.
No, neither do I. I mean, if you're going to go outside linebacker, it's not going to be on the left side. It's got to be on the right side, probably.
Most definitely. And if I were them, if anybody's still there, because there's a lot of right outside linebacker needs. If anybody's there, I'd go with Clinton Barkley.
Yeah, I was about to say Clinton Barkley is the prospect that really intrigues me, and I think from an outside rusher, and it's converging on the quarterback, that vert jump, that 36.5 inches and 10 feet 2 inches of a broad jump. I mean, those are huge batting down passes. If defensive, if you can get a guy like a linebacker who's going to be rushing the passer in those situations to bat down passes, that's huge.
Most definitely.
So I would say probably Clinton Barkley there.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Georgia's got some good players coming out this year.
So now we get up to an interesting guy who owns the New York Giants. And Ian has them taking a tight end in the first round, which I think is ass of 9, ass of 10, ass of 11, ass of 12, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. The Giants let go of Larry Donnell this year. I mean, yeah, he was definitely a good tight end for him, but he's not what they're looking for.
If you want a tight end, go sign Jermaine Gresham. I mean, not that he's an excellent tight end or anything like that, but he could easily not have to wait. You could not have to waste a first pick on a tight end if you sign Jermaine Gresham. There's some interesting second or third round options with tight end that we could go through at some point, but he says Parker is the tight end of the mold of a Jimmy Graham or a Rob Gronkowski. He's heaping plenty of praise. Wasn't Eric Ebron Rob Gronkowski? It wasn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Eric Ebron, I mean, he was supposed to be great, supposed to be fantastic. But then again, maybe it's just the fact that he plays for the Lions, and there's not much to go around these days with Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson taking all those passes away.
All those running backs and
yeah. But Giants needs, I think they're going to be looking for maybe a linebacker, maybe linebacker, defensive line. They lost Jason Pierre-Paul last offseason. They traded him away. That's how they got one of these first-round picks. And then they traded away Robert Ayers Jr. All they have right now is DeMontre Moore and Owa Jigizua, and I'm not sure if he's ready to be a starter yet. I know they are going after Mr. Chandler Jones there, but it's a long shot for them to get him. So if they're not going to go linebacker and they want to get a star defensive end, who do you think would be the best one for them?
I mean, if you're looking, it depends on the way you play your 4-3, but if you play guys who like to rush on the outside, kind of more like a 3-4 backer from that down position, I'd probably go looking in the direction of an Anton Tillman.
Yeah.
Looking at the other prospects, there's a Tyrone Bullock on there as well, who's another speedy guy that you could look at. He had 17 reps, so him and Tillman really were both about the same as far as reps. Those are really the two elite defensive end prospects, then they're not even really elite if you look at it. So, as far as the 4-3 goes, there's a lot of 4-3 defensive line talent that's interesting in this draft as well. If I was the Giants, I would probably continue my offensive line overhaul.
Yeah, they do still have a need at especially right guard. They have Eric Flowers at left tackle and what's that kid's name? Will Beatty. Will Beatty at right tackle now, and Justin Pugh. And Justin Pugh had a good year last year, and Weston Richburg has definitely come up big from his third round pick last year. He's doing some things. He's developing well. He's playing well, and if they're going to go offensive line, I think they'd go right guard or left guard. Switch them over if they have to.
Oh, that's to me. That's one of the easiest picks that you can make. Guard Lance Patrick again out of Wisconsin. That seems to be a pretty easy pick. I like the pick personally if Lance Patrick's there, just from the standpoint of he is a strong guard who can zone block as well. I mean, he's not the fastest guard in the world, but for a zone blocker, you don't have to be the fastest guard as long as you can get up to speed fast enough and move.
Yeah,
You know,
if you have a good burst, especially with the
So-
running backs that they have this year.
even not being the fastest guard in the world, he's top 3 guard. You know, he's 5.29 40. He's third in the league with the cuddle. Oh, I'm sorry, the cuddle. That's hilarious. The cuddle drill. We now have a drill called the cuddle drill at the combine, guys.
It's going to be a mix between the cone and the shuttle.
Anyway, the 3-cone drill, 7.53 seconds. The 20-yard shuttle, 4.76 seconds, and the bench press was 33 reps, which was the second best guard. So he overall looks like the best prospect at guard.
Most definitely, yeah. I mean,
Offensive
possibly
lineman.
one of the best offensive linemen coming out of college this year.
Yeah, so absolutely, and he looks like he maybe, I don't know that he would be able to be had on the way back for the Giants if they were to keep that pick, but he might be an interesting pick.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, the Carolina Panthers. They have the Carolina
boy.
Panthers top need wide receiver, and they have them taking Rashad Jackson. Ian has them taking Rashad Jackson. Is that one of Michael Jackson's kids?
But it's possible. Rashad Jackson, he's got some good ability. I mean, he's 6'2", 218, so he's a decent mold for Carolina after they lost Kelvin Benjamin. He's got some good burst. He can accelerate quickly.
He's a little bit shorter than Calvin Benjamin. He's a more agile receiver, and so he's got the vert jump. He's a little bit faster. I could see that being the case for Calvin Benjamin. So I would say I said for Calvin Benjamin for her the most ass owner in the league. I want to throw that one out there when he listens. Yeah, he's obsessed with ass. He's obsessed with calling Brian ass. He's obsessed with everything that has to do with ass. So that's your shout out, her. I was shouting out Danielle earlier in the program quite a bit because
I was hearing that. See, I'm wondering, man, which top 10 pick is he going to try to get?
Oh man, it was so funny. I posted that earlier, and he's like, "You're gonna get me raped now." I'm like,
he's coming. We'll prepare for him.
Yeah, they're prepared. Rashad Jackson is definitely the tallest and probably the most freakish athlete. I think he's going to have to work on the mental part. He looks the most like a football player, like we were talking about earlier, and probably runs the most like a football player. If he can put the mental part together, he's probably the most dominant receiver in this draft.
Most definitely, especially with that 4.38 speed. It's definitely not the fastest, but he's close up there.
4.2 speed in the NFL, you can only use it so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't need that dominant speed all the time. And if you have a good burst, and if you can just break past a cornerback that quickly, you're good down the field. Especially if you have your long arms and you can jump up there and catch that ball. You'll be fine if you have a decent quarterback behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to back.
That's right. That's right. All right.
Back to back. So we liked Rashad Jackson pick. Now he's got Carolina Panthers taking Mike Green, the halfback out of USC.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like this pick. I don't think Carolina is gonna waste one of their other first round picks on a halfback, especially with the year Cameron Artis had last year behind Johnny Stewart. I don't think they're gonna go halfback here. I think Artis Payne definitely has the job locked up.
So who do you think he's going with?
I don't know. If I had any inkling, maybe he'd try to go for an even more dominant linebacking core.
With him switching to a 34, I think he goes Kadeem Farrell to pair him to have probably the most dominant linebacking core, middle linebackers in the GFL in the next couple of years.
I think so.
I mean, depends on who Phil puts with Von Miller. With Von Miller being a middle linebacker, public service announcement, everybody. Von Miller's a middle linebacker. So now everyone knows when they get sacked by the user Von Miller, they're going to be like, isn't Von Miller an outside linebacker? No, he's a middle linebacker now in the GFL.
Yeah, they're gonna have to worry about that.
Yes. Yeah. I actually would like to put Von Miller's coverage skills to the test in that situation because
That's
you're going to have to cover you're going to have to cover running backs out of the backfield. I love Von Miller, but his if you're going to do something like that, his hands should be in the dirt.
Definitely, most definitely.
That's the way I look at it. But yeah, Kadeem Farrell would be where I would see him going. He's probably about as close to the best linebacker physically that's there, and I would assume that and it looks like he's got the best head on his shoulders, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I'd probably see him going linebacker there as opposed. So now San Francisco comes up, and a little bit of a wild card, Slim. Nobody really. I mean, I know Slim from 12th Man, playing in 12th Man with him. So I kind of seen some of the stuff he's done, but I don't know him well enough. I mean, someone like Jason or Brett, who still hasn't made it on here. Brett, I'm calling you out again. Might know a little bit better about him.
Yeah.
But he's got him taking Ian. I should say, when I say he, I mean Ian, just where everyone knows. Ian has him taking Tremont Adams, the wide receiver from Texas.
Okay, all right.
San Francisco doesn't have much of an offense right now, but they need wideouts badly. Tremont, I think Torrey Smith's a pretty good wideout. I mean, I'm sure they probably let Anquan Bolden go. So they could probably use another end. Obviously, they let Vernon Davis go too, but they could use, another weapon to help them. So I can see that. I'm not so sure Tremont Adams is the type of receiver you give to Colin Kaepernick.
No, the kind of receiver I would see working for Colin Kaepernick. Honestly, I think he needs a big body that can catch those crazy passes that Cap likes to throw. Those lame ducks.
Anquan Bolden box out. It's just like you're playing. Anquan Bolden was playing power forward out there as a wide receiver. He's just boxing out and catching the ball, catch the rebound.
If they're gonna go receiver, they're gonna have to go with a big body who can make those catches. I mean, doesn't necessarily have to be a super speedy wide receiver, but I'm thinking of a possession type receiver. I mean, right now, the closest one to that, I mean, if Rashad Jackson was still there, maybe, but I'll have to say Wendell Brandon or Nate Phelps.
Yeah, my problem with both of those picks would be that I feel like Wendell Brandon's a reach, even for he's a big body receiver, but he's probably a reach there. So if I'm them, I probably look and I go back to my defense, and I'm running that 34 defense. So I'm going back and I'm looking around, and I'm going
to fill up those linebacker holes that have been decimated, definitely.
And I'm going who's available. Ooh, B.J. Tyson looks pretty interesting. I mean, he's not an elite athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but for an edge rusher, to get him at 19, that would be pretty interesting. It would put them back on the map. And I feel like, like you said, it would help them at the linebacking core that's been decimated for them. I mean, they could go offensive lineman there. I don't think there's an offensive lineman there to draft. I mean, you could look at possibly drafting a corner, maybe Lincoln Francois out of Florida. Probably that would help them as well. I don't know that it would help them as much as drafting B.J. Tyson out of Tennessee, but it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, so we both agree that Tremont Adams is definitely not a good pick there.
No, most definitely not.
The Baltimore Ravens, and they are going after Anton Tillman, and since our Ravens owner left today, the Ravens have switched to a 3-4, and they have pretty much made that pick I'm going to say pretty null because of the actual, they were running the hybrid before, so they had the 3-4 pass rushers. So I don't see the Ravens taking Anton Tillman at all. Tackle would be my first inclination for the Ravens. Probably wide receiver, actually, after that would be first. And you know what? I could see them taking either Tremont Adams or Jordan Floyd.
You know, I was actually going to suggest Tremont Adams. They just lost Steve Smith. Sorry, Steve Smith. They just lost him, and I mean Tremont Adams. He has the ability to come in and play a little bit like Steve Smith. You know, he's got that speed, that electrifying speed. So he could definitely make a difference with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would agree there for sure. So moving on, the Kansas City Chiefs, now that they've traded down, is interesting. He has them getting the center Chris Tarpley out of Michigan State, and I believe that is a huge reach.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree there. The center class this year isn't too high.
One thing I'm going to say is this center put up 40 reps and ran a 5.15.
You know, that's pretty phenomenal. He is pretty high up on the grades. I mean, but still, I mean, he might. I wouldn't say it's worth it at what pick are we at right now? 20.
We're at 21. I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know that I go there at 21. Maybe if I'm
no.
I wait, because I'm going to be up again in 8 to 10 picks. I'm probably going
to. With the number 5 in the second round, I'd go somewhere else. I can't think of a glaring need that the Chiefs have right now, but I'd try to save that and hold out for Chris Tarpley to get in the 5th or in the early 5th or the early second round. And then honestly, I think he would be a perfect pick for them.
Going another position I could see that the Chiefs going in would be the wide receiver, and getting a wide receiver like Jordan Floyd to replace the departed D'Anthony Thomas, who's now in that logjam situation in New York.
Yeah, I can see that. If Tremont Adams is still on the board, which I highly believe he will be.
Yeah,
go with him.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. So, well, moving on, we now have the Miami Dolphins. They're Reggie Phillip, right tackle, Oklahoma.
Okay.
That's another reach in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there.
Now he's a strong tackle, and that's a good thing. But he's probably a below average run blocker at this point for a right tackle.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. He might want to change positions. Being a 6'6", he is. I'm sorry, that was the wrong person. Yeah, he is 6'6". Being so strong, if anything, I would probably move him inside.
Yeah, there's a good possibility of that. But personally, I don't know that I go right tackle. I've got Dwan James. Maybe I look at a different player. It doesn't look like there's any offensive linemen that I'm going to be able to take that are worth taking in the first round if I'm the Dolphins. So I took a wide receiver last year, so I'm probably going over to the defensive side of the ball now to try and help Ndamukong Suh a little bit. So if I'm looking at it from the Dolphins' perspective, I would probably look at Trevani Patton, or Lincoln Francois to go in my secondary because I'm looking at Brent Grimes' age right in front of me.
Yeah, Brent Grimes he is definitely getting up there, so they're going to need some people to replace him. They're going to need somebody who is a lockdown, well, not necessarily lockdown, but somebody good. And Trevani Patton, he's a big boy, 6'1", 206, so he can be physical, and his speed is phenomenal for a man his size, and his legs. I mean, he can jump. He can really jump.
If Gage is playing the Dolphins defense, which is more of a zone defense, it's not like a Tampa 2 or anything like that, but they base out of zone more, I'd probably go Lincoln Francois. I think he's probably a better zone defender.
Yeah,
if you're looking for a man press corner, Trevani Patton's your man.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's absolutely the way I'm seeing it. It's been a good. Ian's not all right, but he's not all wrong either so far. So going through, he's got St. Louis taking DeMarcus James, the center, out of Michigan State. I'm not even going to justify that. It's hugely.
No, definitely not.
Again, if in my opinion, the Dolphins go Lincoln Francois here. Trevani Patton's the pick for me if I'm St. Louis. Man-to-man press corner.
Most definitely, yeah. He would definitely pair well with Janoris Jenkins over there.
Mm-hmm. And E.J. Gaines.
Oh, E.J. Gaines, I forgot about him. He's definitely turned out to be a star. He could, those two could flip-flop between slot and number 2 corner spot.
Yeah, it gives you some versatility, especially with the way that the Rams play in the front seven. So
yeah, or what? Even so, if they don't get Trevani Patton, maybe they can be looking at a safety somehow because they did just lose a safety who became a linebacker.
That's true. I will give Ian a little bit of credit. His previous pick on his last mock draft was Trevani Patton.
No, okay, alrighty. That is a good pick there, Ian. You should have kept that one, buddy.
Yeah, should have. Okay, San Diego, he doesn't seem to think that they need a lot. I'm going to disagree and say that they need a weapon.
Yes.
Tight end here. Gates retires, Floyd retires, and I know he's got Green and Allen, but you need more than that to go with Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, most definitely. And they're going to I'm going to say by way of receiver, they're definitely going to need a receiver for Phillip Rivers III too.
And I can finally see them reaching on a receiver, and I could see that receiver being Wendell Brandon.
Yeah, I was actually about to say the same thing.
I think at this point, Wendell Brandon's the type of receiver that he's catching traffic, a spec catch probably type receiver, possession guy who can move the chains. Now, probably not overly fast or overly strong, but as long as you can catch the ball, that's what that offense is happy with you doing.
Yeah.
So I can easily see Wendell Brandon going there, and we both seem to be pretty happy with that. They originally had Clinton Barclay up there, but we both decided, or all when Phil was on here as well, that Clinton Barclay is clearly a better than 25 prospect. So I don't think Clinton Barclay.
He'll be taking long before the Chargers get a chance. All right, who do we have next?
All right, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he mocked himself to Farrell, which we've already taken off the board because we think he'll go earlier.
Yes, agreed.
His previous pick being Isaiah Riley, which I could see him going as, actually. 3-4 defensive end, guy to compare with Cameron Hayward, and to eat that space. I mean, that's what you need in that 3-4, especially in that zone blitzing 3-4, and they need to be able to do other stuff as well. So I think it's an interesting pick if he goes that way with Isaiah Riley. He could easily go in a different direction. Maybe a Myron McKay, who's a strong safety for being a free safety. These Steelers like safeties that are strong that could play in the box, but they also, play that zone defense pretty well. So Myron McKay could be a pick there as well.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right. Actually, I went backwards. I went Chargers before Steelers, but that's okay. Atlanta Falcons. He has them taking Wendell Brandon, the wide receiver out of UCLA. That is not going to happen.
Nope.
We've already said that he won't be there. And the
I'm gonna say with this pick, if the Falcons don't pick up another defensive end in free agency, I'm gonna say they're gonna go defensive end on here.
Falcons run kind of that 3-4, but they don't run like the traditional 3-4. I would actually not be surprised if you saw the Falcons take a player that should have gone earlier, either Jawan Sapp, the corner, because they don't care about size of their corners apparently, or going up even further. Who was it? There was a Tampa 2 linebacker, but I can't find him right now. Tampa 2 linebackers. Deion Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see them. I think we took Bernard out from the other pick. I could easily see him going down Bernard.
I could see him falling for sure.
Situational pass rusher with the type of 3-4 that he runs. He can defend in space. So that would be where I see him going. I think that he's too resourceful in finding wide receivers, that maybe aren't necessarily on everybody's hit parade that he likes. So I think he's resourceful in that manner, and he'll stay away from it. Ian's previous pick was Juwan Sapp, the corner. Tennessee, they have Ian has him taking Lance Patrick to guard. I don't see that happening with Lance Patrick being up by that point. Oh shit's right.
I'm gonna take a quick break here for a second. I'll be right back, Jimmy.
All right.
Fuck, that phone is fucking up. Hold on.
All right. Anyway, we were talking about the Tennessee Titans not being able to get Lance Patrick because I see him being gone. If I were him, I'd probably go a Phillip Pearson somewhere in that area, maybe a Tyrone Bullock. Tillman may still be on the board at that point, more of a speed rusher. I like a couple of things, or a couple of players that are left in the first round. But moving on to Carolina, Juwan Sapp. We talked about possibly Juwan Sapp being the pick before, or the pick before that. Nonetheless, Juwan Sapp is an interesting player. Previous pick there was Le'Veon Hanna. Le'Veon Hanna is an undersized receiver. As you can tell, we're kind of haters against undersized receivers in this version of Madden especially. But Juwan Sapp would be an interesting pick for Carolina at 28. I think they would help. His secondary wouldn't be as much ass, and maybe he could trade me Josh Norman like a normal human being. Anyway, that's right, her.
All right, I am back.
All right, I just called her ass again because he was going to draft Juwan Sapp at 28.
All right. Hey, can you hear me all right? I'm outside and it's raining pretty hard.
No, I can hear you perfectly fine, dude. You're good.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Danielle just got home. Come on, Danielle. How about you join us?
Yeah. Get up on here. Let's do this thing.
All right, what pick are we at right now?
Well, I talked about Tennessee and how they're probably going to end up going with a defensive tackle or something like that. I don't see Lance Patrick being up there. 28 is Juwan Sapp. I can easily see that pick, the secondary pick. Now, guess who we're up to again?
Oh, we are back up to the Giants.
Oh, how'd you know? It would seem like you have a stake in that team or something like that.
Maybe a little.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe I've gone out on a date or two with Kate Mara.
Ooh. If things don't work out, bro, just let me give a go at it.
Oh, well, she is the owner of the Giants now, so.
That's good. Anyway, he has you taking Tyrone Bullock. So he has you taking a tight end and a defensive end. I can see the defensive end, actually. Bullock, who's an interesting cat. If you get Bullock at 29, you should be relatively happy. I don't think Bullock is one of those speed rushers that probably is really high in finesse moves. Is not going to stop the run, in my opinion, very well, because he only finished with 17 reps. And 17 reps for defensive end is pretty miserable. So, I don't like that pick personally. I think you probably need to go more, with the player. Probably go a tight end here. Maybe you look at Rashard Parker because he is the truth at tight end. Fourth ranked.
Yeah.
He's the fourth ranked 40-yard dash. He's the fourth ranked 40-yard dash. He's got the 37-inch vertical of 10-foot, 2-inch broad jump, 7-second cone drill, which is first for a tight end, 4.21-yard shuttle drill, and a 21-inch. I'm losing it here.
21 reps on the bench.
It's third tight end, which is pretty good. So that tells me that he can catch in traffic and he can probably run block and impact block, which makes him a dual threat tight end and pretty desirable in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if I were you, since you're the only other one on here, the New York Giants, I'd take Rashard Parker. This tight end's pretty interesting, man. And
yeah, I can agree.
Projected early second round right now, but 29th pick, it's close enough. So Tampa from Jack from the Texans, he hasn't taken Le'Veon Hannah. That doesn't make sense. So, the way I'm looking at Le'Veon Hannah, guys, he doesn't really have anything on his early. Anyway, moving on, whatever Broncos. BJ Tyson, I can easily see this pick. Tyson looks like an interesting linebacker. I don't think he'll be there when Phil picks, but that's just me. And outside linebacker,
yeah, I can agree.
Outside linebacker Devontae Clark. I think Brett just got another linebacker. I don't think that's happening either. I would look for him to probably go with one of those speed rusher defensive ends if they're still on board, the Tillman or the Bullocks of the world or someone of that nature. I could also see him. He probably I think he re-signed Robert Blanton, so he probably won't go there. Wide receiver, don't be surprised if he goes there.
I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he went receiver.
Probably look at Derek McNeil or Jaquan Sampson. And if he really wants to reach, you could go with Nate Phelps.
Yeah.
Yep. So that would be the end of the mock draft, and I think we're going to end our first podcast here. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you got on, Rich. You should definitely come on for the next one. Figure it out, make it work. We should get more people and more participation on. Shout out Brett again because he never made it onto this program like he promised he would.
Oh, Brett the ass.
Fucked GFL Talk Radio for its Super Bowl champion. So, anyway, I really appreciate you being on, Brett. This will be on YouTube. I will change it to talk and not to call, like it's some ancient thing. Radio. Once again, thanks, and broadcast over. Later, bitches.
Of course, man. Alrighty. Later, guys.